The text message glowed on my phone like a bomb about to detonate. "You're a failure of a daughter. I hope you're happy destroying your sister's dreams." Below it was a screenshot of Lorelei's latest Facebook post, already collecting hundreds of sympathetic reactions. "Sometimes the people who should love you the most are the ones who hurt you deepest. Pray for my children who just lost their chance at a better life because their aunt chose money over family. My name is Paula, and 2 hours ago I was ambushed at what was supposed to be my sister's birthday dinner. Just a small celebration," my mother had said. "Lorelei really wants you there. I should have known better. In my family, guilt comes served with appetizers. The restaurant was upscale Italian, Lorelei's favourite. My parents were already seated when I arrived, my father nervously adjusting his tie while my mother beamed with that particular smile that always meant trouble. Lorelei and her husband Ronnie showed up 15 minutes late, as usual. "Paula!" Lorelei squealed, air-kissing my cheek. "I'm so glad you made it." The wine hadn't even been poured when my mother cleared her throat. "Paula, sweetie, we actually wanted to discuss something important with you tonight." I set down my menu. "Oh? Well," Lorelei jumped in, practically vibrating with excitement. "Ronnie and I found the most amazing house. It's perfect for the kids. 5 bedrooms, huge backyard, great school district. We're talking dream home material." "That's wonderful," I said carefully, already seeing where this was heading. "The thing is," Ronnie added, his easy smile not quite reaching his eyes, "with the market being what it is, we need a co-signer for the mortgage. Just temporarily, you know." "It's only 1.2 million, Lorelei said quickly. "And you're doing so well with your consulting business, plus you don't have any kids to worry about." "No." The word came out softer than I intended, but firm. The table went silent. A waiter approached, saw 5 faces locked in various stages of shock and anger, and wisely retreated. "What do you mean, no?" my mother demanded. "I mean, I won't co-sign a mortgage. That's not a temporary commitment. That's a massive financial liability." "But they're family," my father finally spoke up, his voice strained. "Your sister has 2 children to think about." "Exactly," I replied, "and I need to think about my own financial security." Lorelei's eyes welled up with tears. "Right on schedule." "How can you be so selfish? You're sitting there in your designer blazer, living your childless life, while my babies are cramped in that tiny house." "A 3-bedroom condo is hardly tiny," I pointed out, "and my financial success came from careful planning, not, 'Oh, here we go.'" My mother threw her hands up. "Always so superior, aren't you? You think you're better than us because you chose career over family? That's not what I can't believe this." Lorelei stood up, grabbing her purse. "I knew you were cold, Paula, but this is cruel. Come on, Ronnie." My father wouldn't meet my eyes. "Princess, please reconsider. Your sister needs you." "What your sister needs," I said, standing up myself, "is a reality check. I'm not co-signing anything." "Then you're no daughter of mine," my mother spat. I left cash on the table for my untouched water and walked out. Behind me, I could hear Lorelei's theatrical sobs and my mother's comfort. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll figure something out." Now, sitting in my car outside the restaurant, watching the notifications pile up as Lorelei's social media army mobilizes against me, I feel something shift inside. Years of being the family ATM, of watching my sister's entitlement grow while my parents enabled it, it all crystallizes into something hard and cold in my chest. My phone buzzes again. This time it's my cousin Olive. "You okay? Lorelei's really going nuclear with this one." I text back a single word, "Fine." And surprisingly, I am. Because what my family doesn't know is that my late grandmother left me more than just money. She left me a weapon. They just haven't figured that out yet. The messages started rolling in at dawn. First came Mrs. Peterson, my mother's bridge partner. "I raised you better than this." Then my old college roommate saw Lorelei's post. "Everything okay?" By noon, my inbox was flooded with flying monkeys, each carrying their own version of the same message. I was heartless, cruel, destroying my family. I started taking screenshots. Every message, every comment, every tearful Instagram story Lorelei posted about toxic family members and choosing money over children's happiness. Each one went into a dedicated folder on my computer. "You're being methodical about this," Olive observed over lunch. She'd insisted on meeting, claiming she needed to see I was still breathing. Most people would be having a breakdown by now. Most people haven't spent their entire adult life as an ATM, I replied, stabbing at my salad. "Did you know I paid for Lorelei's entire wedding?" "No way!" $40,000. Mum said it was my duty as the successful sister. Then there was Dad's boat, Mum's spa retreat, Ronnie's failed food truck venture. "Jesus, Paula," Olive leaned forward. "How much have they taken from you?" I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app. I've kept track, close to $300,000 over the last decade. Holy shit. Yeah, I took a sip of water. And now they want me to risk everything I've built on a mortgage they can't afford. My phone buzzed. Another message from an unknown number. "Your poor niece was crying at school today because they might have to move. Hope you're proud of yourself." Olive read it over my shoulder and swore. "This is getting out of hand. Have you considered legal action?" A smile tugged at my lips. "Actually, I have an appointment with Amber this afternoon." "Your lawyer friend, the scary one?" "That's her." 2 hours later, I sat in Amber's sleek downtown office, watching her read through my grandmother's trust documents. Her expression grew increasingly impressed. "Paula," she said finally, "your grandmother was a genius." "I know. This character clause, it's ironclad. If any family member attempts to coerce, shame, or financially exploit you, they forfeit their rights to the Grant Family Fund." She looked up. Did they forget about this? They never knew. Grandma Teresa made sure of that. "Smart woman," Amber tapped her fingers on the desk. "And you've been gathering evidence?" I pulled out my laptop, opened the folder. Everything's dated and archived. Social media posts, text messages, emails. I even have witnesses who can testify to past financial exploitation, including the time they guilted you into paying for your sister's wedding. I kept all the receipts. Amber's smile was predatory. "You know, most people come to me emotional, unprepared, but you've been playing the long game, haven't you? Let's just say Grandma Teresa taught me more than how to make tamales." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Lorelei. "I'm doing an interview with Good Morning Local next week. Last chance to make this right before I tell our story to everyone." Amber read the message and raised an eyebrow. "She's really determined to destroy herself, isn't she?" "They all are." I stood up, smoothing my skirt. "How long will it take to prepare the legal documents?" "Give me a week. I'll have everything ready for when they inevitably try to contest it." As I left Amber's office, another message came through, this time from my father. "Your mother hasn't stopped crying. Why are you doing this to us?" I remembered all the times I'd given in to that guilt. All the checks I'd written, all the loans that were never repaid, all the times I'd sacrificed my own dreams to fund theirs. But not this time. My intern Gianna was waiting at my office with coffee. "Bad news," she said, handing me the cup. "Your sister's blog post about you went viral. It's getting picked up by some major mommy bloggers." I took a long sip of coffee. "Good. Tell me, Gianna, how are your organisation skills?" "Top-notch." "Why?" "Because we're going to need a very detailed record of everything that's about to happen." I smiled. "And trust me, you're going to want to take notes." "Your sister was always like this, mi amor." Grandma Teresa's voice echoes in my memory as I stand in front of her old house, now empty and waiting to be sold. Even as a little girl, she knew how to make everyone dance to her tune. I'd come here looking for something specific, the original copy of the trust documents. But standing in her kitchen, I could almost smell the coffee and cinnamon she always had brewing when we visited. Remember what I told you? I hear her voice again from that last conversation we had, just weeks before she passed. Money shows people's true colours. Your grandfather Moses learned that the hard way with his siblings. My phone buzzes. Amber calling. You need to see this, she says without preamble. Lorelei's morning show interview has been moved up. It's tomorrow. Already? They're billing it as a special feature on family estrangement in the age of social media. Your sister's really milking this. I find what I'm looking for in Grandma's study, a thick manila envelope marked Para Paula in her elegant handwriting. Inside is exactly what I remembered, the trust documents including the character clause she'd shown me 5 years ago. When the time comes, she'd said, you'll know how to use this. Some people only learn through consequences. Back at my office, Gianna has assembled an impressive binder of evidence. I organised everything chronologically, she explains, flipping through tabs. Social media posts, text messages, financial records. I even found old emails where your mum basically admitted using guilt to get money from you. Perfect. I scanned through the pages. What's this section? That's the psychological impact documentation, statements from your therapist about the pattern of financial abuse, testimonials from colleagues about how this has affected your work. You're thorough, she grins. I learnt from the best. My phone buzzes again. Olive this time. You watching the morning show tomorrow? Wouldn't miss it. Paula, they're going to try to destroy you. Let them try. I meet Amber for dinner to review the final strategy. The restaurant is quiet, expensive, the kind of place Lorelei would demand I treat her to because you can afford it. The beauty of this clause, Amber says, spreading out the documents, is its specificity. Your grandmother didn't just make it about financial exploitation. She included emotional manipulation and public shaming. It's like she saw this coming. She did. I take a sip of wine. She watched it happen with her own family, then with my mom and Lorelei. She knew exactly what they'd do once they realised how much money was in the trust. And they have no idea this clause exists. None. Mom was too busy planning how to spend the money to read the fine print. Lorelei didn't even show up for the reading of the will. She sent Ronnie instead. Amber's smile is sharp. So, tomorrow they hang themselves with their own rope. At home, I pull out an old photo album. There's one picture I'm looking for. Grandma Teresa at my college graduation, beaming with pride. She'd pulled me aside that day, pressed an envelope into my hands. This is seed money, she'd said, for your consulting business. Don't tell your mother. She'll only try to get you to give it to Lorelei instead. My phone lights up with a notification, Lorelei's latest Instagram post. Tune in tomorrow for my emotional interview about family betrayal and the true cost of success without soul. Tag someone who needs to hear this message. Our toxic family, dam ga, money over blood. I screenshot it, send it to Gianna for the binder, then pour myself another glass of wine. The trust document sits open on my coffee table, Grandma Teresa's elegant signature at the bottom. The character clause is highlighted in yellow, my grandmother's own marking. A trust is more than money, she'd told me. It's about character, about choices, about consequences. My phone buzzes one last time, a text from my mother. I hope you're happy. Tomorrow everyone will know exactly what kind of person you are. I smile, thinking of the binder of evidence, the trust clause, and my grandmother's foresight. Yes, I whisper to the empty room. Tomorrow everyone will know exactly what kind of people we all are. The morning show interview was worse than I expected. Lorelei sat perched on the cream-coloured couch, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue while the sympathetic host leaned in. So, your sister refused to help, even knowing about your children's needs? She has so much money, Lorelei sniffled, but she'd rather see my babies suffer than share her blessings. That's what happens when you choose not to have children. You lose your humanity. I watched from my office where whispers had already started. My assistant knocked tentatively. Paula, your 10 a.m. cancelled. They said something about, bad publicity. Thank you, Sarah. I kept my voice steady. Please clear my afternoon. I'm having lunch with my father. The cafe was quiet, tucked away from the main business district. Dad was already there, looking older than I remembered. Princess, he started, then stopped. Paula, we need to talk about this situation. Yes, we do. I pressed record on my phone, leaving it visible on the table. Let's talk. He glanced at the phone but continued. You've always been the gifted one, the successful one. You owe your sister this much. I owe her. Yes, look at everything you have, your fancy office, your expensive clothes. Meanwhile, Lorelei is struggling because of her choices, because she chose family. His voice rose. You've always been more gifted anyway, more opportunities. It's your responsibility to help those less fortunate. I let his words hang in the air, then stopped the recording. Thanks, Dad. That's all I needed. What do you mean? You'll see. Back at my office, 3 more clients had cancelled. My inbox was flooded with hate mail from Lorelei's mommy blog followers. Even my professional LinkedIn was getting comments about toxic family members and karmic justice. Olive called just as I was leaving. Paula, it's getting ugly. Mom's telling everyone you're being written out of the family completely. Let her. And Ronnie, he's been asking weird questions about your parking garage. I froze. What kind of questions? Like what time you usually leave work? That night I stayed late intentionally. The security camera in the garage caught everything. Ronnie's distinctive limp as he approached my car, the flash of metal as he slashed my tyres, his satisfied smirk as he walked away. The security guard was apologetic. We've got it all on tape, Miss Paula. Want me to call the police? No, I said, watching the footage again. Just email me a copy of the video and the incident report. At home, I drafted the email carefully. Dear family, recent events have made it necessary to discuss certain aspects of the family estate. Please attend a mediation session at Amber Brewer's office this Friday at 2 p.m. Attendance is mandatory for all parties involved in the trust. Regards, Paula. The responses came quickly. Mum, finally coming to your senses, Lorelei. About time you grew a conscience. Dad, we'll be there, Princess. Ronnie, looking forward to it. Gianna brought me coffee the next morning. The binder's ready. Everything's organised, indexed and copied in triplicate. Perfect. I handed her a USB drive. Add last night's security footage to the exhibits. They slashed your tyres? Her eyes widened. That's actual crime territory. They think they're winning. I smiled. Let them keep thinking that. My phone buzzed. Amber confirming the meeting room was booked. Ready to drop the bomb, she texted. More than ready. One last text came through from Lorelei. Hope you're prepared to make this right. Bring your checkbook on Friday. I looked at the massive binder on my desk, thought of my grandmother's trust clause, and felt a calm certainty settle over me. They thought Friday would be my surrender. They had no idea it was their execution. Oh, I texted back, I'm bringing everything needed to make things right. See you Friday. She's cracking, Lorelei's voice carried through my mother's FaceTime speaker. I wasn't supposed to hear this conversation, but Olive had left her phone on during their call, letting me listen in. Did you see how formal that email was? She's terrified of losing the family. My mother's laugh crackled through the speaker. Of course she is. She might have money, but she has nothing else. No children, no real family connections. Just her cold little career. I've already planned how to decorate the new house, Lorelei continued. Once she co-signs, we can... Wait, my mother interrupted. What if she's not calling this meeting to give in? Mom, please. Paula's weak. She always caves when we push hard enough. Remember the wedding? She tried to say no to that too. I signalled to Olive that I'd heard enough. She hung up and turned to me. There's more. Your mum was talking about having you removed from the trust completely. She thinks she can convince the trustees you're mentally unstable. Interesting theory. I straightened the papers on my desk. Did she mention who the trustee is? No. Why? Because Amber isn't just my lawyer. She's the sole trustee of both the family fund and my personal trust. Grandma Teresa arranged it specifically that way. Olive's eyes widened. Oh my God. Yeah? I checked my watch. Speaking of Amber, I need to meet her. Final prep for tomorrow. Amber's office was a fortress of glass and steel. She greeted me with a stack of documents. Everything's ready. I've had 3 different lawyers review the clause. It's airtight. And the evidence? She patted the massive binder. Overwhelming. The social media posts alone would be enough, but combined with the financial records, the tire slashing, and the recorded conversations. She shook her head. They don't stand a chance. They've already RSVP'd, I said, showing her my phone. All of them, even Ronnie. Of course they did. They think tomorrow is their victory lap. Amber's smile was cold. Let them keep thinking that. Back at my apartment, I laid out my outfit for tomorrow. A black suit, crisp white shirt, red bottom heels, power colours, battle armour. My phone buzzed with a text from Gianna. Local news just ran a teaser about Lorelei's ongoing family drama story. They're calling it Sister versus Sister, when family wealth tears apart blood bonds. Perfect, more evidence for the pile. Another text, this time from my father. Princess, looking forward to resolving this tomorrow. Your mother's already feeling better knowing you've come around. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my grandmother's old recipe box, pulling out the small note she'd left me along with the trust documents. Mi amor, sometimes the kindest thing we can do is let people face the consequences of their actions. Don't let guilt make you enable bad behaviour. Te amo. Olive called just before midnight. They're celebrating already. Mom opened a bottle of champagne. Lorelei's talking about putting a down payment on the house next week. Let them celebrate. Paula, are you sure about this? Once you do this, there's no going back, no fixing it, no family holidays, no reconciliation. I thought about all the holidays I'd funded, all the reconciliations that only lasted until they needed more money, all the times I'd been guilted into writing checks I couldn't afford. I'm sure. Then I'm with you. Someone needs to stand up to them. Morning came with a flurry of texts from my mother, each more condescending than the last. Wear something nice today. Remember to bring your checkbook. We're thinking of having a family dinner after to celebrate getting past this ugly episode. I dressed carefully, applying my makeup with precision. In the mirror, I saw my grandmother's eyes staring back at me. The same quiet determination, the same steel core. Gianna met me at the office with coffee and the final updated binder. They have no idea, do they? Not a clue. I took a sip of coffee, savouring the moment. They think I'm about to give in. But you're about to take everything. No, I corrected her, picking up my briefcase. They're about to lose everything all by themselves. I'm just going to sit back and watch. They arrived at Amber's office like a victory parade. Lorelei swept in first, designer purse swinging, Ronnie filming everything on his phone with a smirk. My parents followed, Mom practically glowing with satisfaction. Even my uncle and his wife showed up, probably hoping to witness my capitulation firsthand. Paula, my mother said, air-kissing my cheek. So glad you've finally seen reason. Amber's conference room was all mahogany and leather, impressive enough to match their expectations of old money and family wealth. They settled in like royalty claiming their throne. Before we begin, Ronnie announced, setting up his phone on a tripod, we're recording this for family archives. Perfect. Amber's smile was razor sharp. We'll want a record of this. Now, shall we start with the reading of the original trust documents? Is that really necessary? Lorelei sighed. We all know why we're here. Oh, I insist. Amber opened the thick folder before her. Particularly Section 7, Paragraph 3, the character clause. My mother's smile faltered slightly. The what? The character clause. added by Teresa Salazar 5 years before her death. Amber began reading. Should any beneficiary of the Grant Family Fund engage in actions of coercion, public shaming, or financial exploitation against Paula Salazar Grant, they shall immediately and irrevocably forfeit all rights to said fund. The room went silent. What is this? My father stammered. Evidence Exhibit A, Amber continued, opening our prepared binder. Social media posts by Lorelei dated over the past month, deliberately attempting to damage Paula's professional reputation. Exhibit B, text messages from Jessica showing a pattern of emotional manipulation for financial gain. Exhibit C, security footage from Paula's office garage, showing Ronnie vandalizing her vehicle. This is ridiculous, Lorelei jumped up. You can't. Exhibit D, Amber's voice cut through her protest. Transcript of your morning show interview where you explicitly attempted to shame Paula publicly for financial gain. Exhibit E, recorded conversation with Stanley admitting to systematic financial exploitation. My father's face had gone pale. Paula, princess, we can talk about this. And finally, Amber pressed play on a recording device. Here's a conversation from yesterday between Lorelei and Jessica discussing their deliberate strategy of emotional manipulation. My mother's own voice filled the room. She's weak. She always caves when we push hard enough. This is a trick, Lorelei's voice shook. You can't just... According to the character clause, Amber continued professionally, all parties involved in these actions are now disqualified from the Grant Family Fund. This includes Lorelei, Ronnie, Jessica and Stanley. The approximately $7 million will be redistributed according to the secondary beneficiary clause. 7 million? My mother's face went from red to white. But that's our retirement, our future. Was, I corrected quietly. It was your future. You planned this, Lorelei screamed, mascara running. You set us up. No, Amber interjected. You did this to yourselves. Every post, every message, every attempt at public humiliation, those were your choices. Paula simply kept records. I'll contest this. My mother stood up, shaking. I'll get lawyers. The clause has already been reviewed by multiple firms, Amber said. It's ironclad. Teresa Salazar made very sure of that. Grandma Teresa knew, I said softly. She knew exactly what you'd do once you thought you had leverage over me. She saw it coming years ago. You've destroyed this family, my mother spat. No, your greed did that. Lorelei swayed in her chair. The house, the mortgage, what will we... Not my problem anymore. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Amber, I believe we're done here. Wait, my father's voice cracked. Please, princess, we can fix this. I turned at the door. You know what's funny, Dad? For years, you all said I was cold for choosing career over family. But in the end, I wasn't the one who chose money over blood. You were. Lorelei fainted then, sliding dramatically from her chair. As my mother rushed to her side, screaming for water, I walked out of the conference room. Behind me, I heard Ronnie's phone clatter to the floor, still recording, still capturing every moment of their downfall, just as Grandma Teresa had planned all along. 3 days of silence felt like a lifetime. No calls, no texts, no social media attacks, just emptiness where a family used to be. I spent those days working, sleeping, and pretending the hollow feeling in my chest was victory. Olive broke the silence with a coffee delivery to my office. You need to know what's happening. Tell me. Lorelei's house deal fell through. The bank denied the mortgage outright. Apparently, her mommy blog sponsors are pulling out after some concerning behaviour. Olive stirred her latte. Mum and Dad's retirement fund was mostly theoretical anyway. They'd been counting on the trust money. And Ronnie finally got a job, stock boy at the grocery store. I nodded, letting the information settle. How are the kids? They're fine, still in their condo, still going to the same schools. Despite what Lorelei claimed, they were never actually suffering. My phone buzzed. Amber calling. "The lawyers are circling," she said without preamble. "Your mother's hired 3 different firms to look for loopholes. And they're all reaching the same conclusion. Your grandmother's clause is unbreakable. One lawyer actually called it elegant in its simplicity." I ended the call and stood up. "I need to go somewhere." The cemetery was quiet this time of day. I found Grandma Teresa's grave easily, the marble still fresh and clean. Someone had left fresh flowers, probably Olive. "I did it, Abuela," I whispered, placing my own bouquet beside the others. "I used your gift exactly as you intended." The tears came then, hot and unexpected. Not for my family, for her. For the woman who'd seen it all coming and armed me with exactly what I'd need. My phone buzzed. A voicemail from Lorelei. "You destroyed our lives, but you'll still die alone. No one will ever love someone as cold as you. I hope you're happy with your money because it's all you'll ever have." Delete. Another buzz. A text from my mother. "Your father had to postpone his retirement. I hope you're satisfied knowing your own parents will have to work until they die." Delete. Olive found me still at the cemetery an hour later. "Thought you might be here." She sat beside me on the bench. "Remember what she used to say? About how money doesn't change people, it reveals them." "Yeah." I wiped my eyes. She knew them better than they knew themselves. "Paula," Olive hesitated, "Mum's telling everyone you manipulated Grandma Teresa into writing that clause, that you poisoned her against the family." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "Grandma Teresa couldn't be manipulated by anyone. That's why they hated her too." My phone buzzed again, Gianna this time. "You need to see this. Lorelei's posted a new video." I pulled it up. My sister, makeup perfect despite her distress, stared into the camera. "This is a story about family betrayal, about how money and power can corrupt even the closest bonds. My sister may have won this battle, but karma always comes around. She's writing a book," Olive said quietly, "about toxic family dynamics and financial abuse. She's trying to spin this into her next career move." "Let her." I stood up, brushing off my skirt. "She can write whatever she wants. The truth is in those legal documents. What now?" "Now," I looked at my grandmother's grave one last time. "Now I live my life without their drama, without their guilt, without their constant demands. They'll never forgive you." "I know," I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. That's the point. Walking back to my car, I got one final text. From an unknown number, but this one was different. "You don't know me, but I'm your cousin Rachel. I cut contact with the family years ago because of their financial manipulation. Seeing you stand up to them, thank you. Would you like to get coffee sometime?" I looked back at Grandma Teresa's grave, then at the message. "Sometimes family isn't who you're born to. It's who understands you." "I'd love to," I typed back. "I know just the place." The keys to my new beachfront apartment jingled in my hand as I led Olive through the empty rooms. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, dancing across hardwood floors that had never known family drama. "It's perfect," Olive said, running her hand along the pristine kitchen counter. "Totally you." "No space for guilt here," I agreed, setting down a box marked essential items. "Just peace." My phone buzzed. "Rachel, my newly discovered cousin. Still on for brunch tomorrow. I've got more family tea to spill." "Definitely," I texted back. Our weekly brunches had become a highlight, each meeting revealing new layers of our shared family history. "Have you seen Lorelei's book announcement?" Olive asked, helping me unpack wine glasses. "Blood money? A sister's betrayal?" I laughed. "Her publisher might want to fact-check those sample chapters, especially the part where she claims I manipulated Grandma Teresa for years." Speaking of Grandma, Olive pulled out a bottle of wine. "I had an idea about her trust money." "Oh? What if we started a foundation in her name, supporting women escaping financial abuse? You could turn this whole mess into something good." I stopped unpacking, struck by the perfection of it. The Teresa Salazar Foundation, helping women stand up to family financial manipulation. Olive grinned. Imagine Lorelei's face when that hits the news. My phone buzzed again, Amber this time. Final paperwork's ready. You're officially free and clear. Also, your mother's last attorney just gave up trying to contest the clause. Good, I opened the wine, because I have a new project for you. As we sipped wine on my new balcony, watching waves crash against the shore, Olive scrolled through her phone. Oh, wow, Ronnie's grocery store job didn't last. He's posting about entrepreneurial opportunities now. And Mom and Dad, selling their house, downsizing to a condo. Olive looked up. They're still telling everyone you'll come crawling back eventually. They'll be waiting a long time. A gentle breeze carried the salt air, and with it a memory of Grandma Teresa's voice. Sometimes the biggest act of love is saying no. My laptop dinged with an email. A woman named Sarah reaching out after reading about the trust clause drama online. Your story gave me the courage to stop letting my family drain my savings. Thank you for showing me it's okay to say no. Hey, Olive pointed at my laptop. That's the third email like that this week. I know, I smiled. Maybe that's what the foundation should focus on first, teaching women how to recognize and resist financial manipulation. Grandma Teresa would love that. She would. I pulled out my notebook, the one where I'd been drafting plans for my new life. Want to help me brainstorm foundation ideas? Always. Olive refilled our glasses. But first, a toast to your new life. To boundaries, I added. To karma. To Grandma Teresa's wisdom. As the sun set over the ocean, I opened my notebook to a fresh page and wrote, Dear future self. They wanted me to fund their dreams, but instead I made space for mine. They called it selfish. I call it survival. They said I'd die alone, but I've never felt more connected. To myself, to my true family, to Grandma Teresa's legacy. My phone buzzed one last time, Gianna. You were right, I took detailed notes on everything. Just got offered a book deal to tell the real story behind the trust clause drama. Want to collaborate? I looked at Olive, still brainstorming foundation ideas. At the peaceful apartment that no one could guilt me out of. At the ocean stretching endless and free before me. Yes, I typed back, let's tell the truth. All of it. Olive raised her glass again. One more toast. To what? To the power of saying no, to choosing yourself, to building something new from the ashes of what they tried to take. I clinked my glass against hers, watching the last rays of sun paint the sky in colours of hope. To freedom, I said softly, and to all the women who still need to find theirs. The waves crashed below, steady and strong, like the beating of a heart finally free to choose its own rhythm.